Hi everyone, I'm Yasha, and welcome to the 32nd episode of Election Scoop. Today, we'll be reviewing elections in four new states: Delaware, Georgia, Florida, and Hawaii. So let's dive in and see what each of these states has to offer. We start off with Delaware, a pretty safe state, where incumbent Senator Tom Carper is facing off against businessman Robert Arlett. There's not much to say about this state. It's a fairly democratic state. It was Joe Biden's state back when he was a senator for many years, and Carper has a comfortable lead of 61% to Arlett's 24% in the polls, and as such, we rate that as safe Democratic. Remember, polling numbers don't add up to 100 because there are always undecided voters. In this case, 15% are undecided, but we can put up the data that we have. Next up, a much, much closer race is the Florida Senate. Incumbent Democrat Bill Nelson is facing off against Republican Rick Scott. Now, Scott is the governor of Florida, and he's running for Senate against the incumbent Nelson. So you can just imagine, both these guys have name recognition, money, connections, power, and it's really made for a neck-and-neck race in what has always been a classically close state. Nelson is currently polling at 48%, Scott at 45%, but it really is extremely close. It could go either way. All the polls are close, and we rate it as a toss-up. This is a key race for both parties on the path to control of the Senate. Florida is also holding elections for governor. Now, the favorite for the Democratic nomination was Congresswoman Gwen Graham, but she lost in somewhat of an upset to Tallahassee Mayor Andrew Gillum, who is now facing off against former Representative Ron DeSantis. The polls are still quite close, Gillum at 47% and DeSantis at 43%, and so we rate this as a toss-up, but it's surprising that Gillum has come this far, and some people are calling him the favorite to win. I wouldn't go that far yet, but his momentum is certainly something that we're seeing a lot from Democrats in this cycle. The Florida House has 27 seats, or the Florida's delegation to the House of Representatives has 27 members. Now, most seats are safe. The 27th district, as you can see, there's an asterisk beside it, means that it's currently held by a Republican, but is likely it's tilting towards the Democrats. So that's an expected outcome of one seat gain for the Democrats, but potentially, if they win the 15th, 16th, 26th districts, which tilt Republican, and the 6th, 18th, and 25th districts, which are likely Republican, even harder to win, they could theoretically pick up 2 to 7 seats. 7 seats is not very likely, 2 seats even is not that likely, but they could pull it off, or the Republicans could gain up to 1 seat themselves. As you can see, the 7th district, which is held by Democrats currently, only leans Democratic. But most likely, Democrats will gain that 1 seat. Now on to Georgia. Georgia, this race is one of the most high profile this election, and no one expected it. Democrat Stacey Abrams is facing off against Republican Brian Kemp. Now, Kemp is the Secretary of State in Georgia, and a lot of people have accused him of using his position to his own benefit, because the Secretary of State is the official in charge of managing elections, and Abrams has 46% to Kemp's 48%, which is amazingly close for Georgia. Abrams has run a historic campaign based on representation of minorities and appealing to a broad sway of Democratic voters, which is not something that Georgia Democrats have done in the past. They've focused more on running centrist. She's trying to run a more progressive tone to get moderates and especially liberals out to vote for her. And so we rate this as a toss-up, and it is super important to watch what happens in this race on multiple levels. Georgia is also, as all the states are, holding elections for its House of Representatives, or for the seats to the House of Representatives that Georgia has. We don't see any seats changing hands. The Democrats could pick up the 7th and maybe the 6th district, but it's definitely an uphill battle, and it doesn't look like there's going to be any major upset here. Last but not least is Hawaii, probably the safest state in America. Governor David Ige is running for re-election to a second term against Minority Leader Andrea Tupola. And Ige has 57% of the vote to Tupola's 34%, and so we can rate this race as safe Democratic, and likely we can rate the Hawaii House as safe Democratic. It has 2 districts, they're not going anywhere. It's a clear victory for the Democrats. And so, kind of an anticlimactic end to this episode of Election Scoop, but we definitely have super close races like Florida and Georgia to look out for. So, thanks for watching, and remember, don't forget to vote.